Okay, so we will begin our root chakra practice. So make sure you have a strap or a towel or a belt. We want to have that, as well as if you have a couple blocks or books or blankets, go ahead and have that. Make sure you have those things before we begin. The root chakra is the tailbone down to the legs, so we'll have kind of a lower body focus today. In this earth element. And as I just said, Venus and the moon conjuncted today. We are in the root chakra. The new moon is in an earth element. So really important week to kind of dig up those roots and reestablish those roots. So go ahead and let's start with the legs up. So let's start in a supported inversion of some kind, just to shift that blood flow from the legs. Normally when we work with the legs, right, we're standing, we're rooted. So when we turn and we put the legs up the bed or up the couch or up the cushions, however that works, it really starts to shift that blood flow. It's also really good for the nervous system. So let me go ahead and make sure I mute everybody. Okay. So starting with the legs up and dropping into the root support. So the tailbone down to the toes. The root chakra is connected to survival. It is the color red. It is the element earth. It is the physical food body in the kosha system. It is the most dense, gross of our physicality. It is what we eat. It is the process of elimination. There's not a specific gland in this area. I associate it with the adrenal gland because the third chakra technically has the pancreas and the adrenals in that area. And I feel like the adrenals, though, that's the survival, fight or flight response as well. So a little bit of both. So to start to sink into the earth, into your body. And so as I was mentioning, Venus and the moon are conjuncting in the descent cycle, the beginning of her new 8-year cycle that started in June. She's now made it from the crown chakra down to the root chakra and removed her red cloak. That's the story of Inanna that the Sumerians told. And so then she's sort of waiting to kind of enter the underworld. And then she is killed and then rebirthed. So, you know, it's kind of not like, it's not the part of the story that like we love, right? Like when you talk about the myth of Inanna, it's like, we don't really like the part where she's like powerless at the gates of the underworld, but that's sort of energetically where we are. And that's the connection to the root chakra that's so important because this really is our foundation. And when you stripped away the foundation, what remains? But it's also, that being said, it's important to check in with the foundation. If you've ever owned a home or some kind of structure, right? Like that foundation has to be checked into, because if you discover cracks in the foundation, if you discover rot in the foundation, right? Like that threatens the entire structure. So that is the Muladhara chakra. That is the root chakra. Anodea Judith, who's one of my favorite chakra teachers, talks about the psychological development of the chakras, with the psychological development of the root chakra being in the womb. So like most of our root chakras were developed initially when we were in the belly of our biological mother. Right? And like, how powerless were we there? Talk about being at the gates of the underworld. My mom's waving because yes, my root chakra was developed in my mother's belly. You know, and so we're pretty powerless there. And a lot of times things that happen in there, right? Like we have no power over it. If there's trauma around the pregnancy or around the birth, or if the mother is going through psychological or physical trauma during that. So fortunately, right, like we can continue to work with these areas, but it can be really interesting to wonder, like, you know, what was life like when I was in the womb of my biological mother, right? Like, and maybe you have that information, and it doesn't matter if you don't, or if you don't want it, but that's like, that was the basic establishing of your root, that first year of life, the first 9 or 10 months of it being in the belly, being in that protective container of the biological womb. So then we come out into the world, right? And it's like, what's happening? That literal birth, that literal rebirth. And so when we work with the root chakra, it's so important to be honest. It's so important to really dig into the root support. So the low back, and when we first started the practice, one of you was like, my low back's feeling tender today. Like that is such a root chakra experience. So root chakra is the low back, it's the legs, the feet, it's elimination, it's connected to security, it's connected to finances, it's connected to ancestry and family of origin. I remember one of my first chakra experiences with Sean Korn. She was teaching about it, and when we were talking about each chakra, she would talk to someone, and it was like she was psychic. It was like she knew. They were like, oh, you know, my back. And she's like, oh, are you having money issues? And they're like, oh yeah, I just lost my job. And I was like, oh my gosh, how does she know that? But it's because it's a very specific energy. And the pandemic and the upheaval of so much is literally, we are in a root chakra crisis as a culture right now. And we've been in it for a year, at least, that we're aware of, right? So like we've literally been seeing things being ripped up by the root, structures dissolving, disappearing, belief systems, families, all of that. So this is a really scary time for the root chakra, but especially this week with the new moon and the Venus conjunction and a lot of outer planet, there's a big, Wednesday's a really intense day, the most intense day so far, one of the really intense days of this entire year energetically, and it has to do with that earth element, the Uranus in Taurus and Saturn in Aquarius. So really digging into our roots in this practice today, really taking time this week to stay close to nature, close to your roots, to be curious, to really eat well, eat good food, you know, connect with the color red, connect with your lower body. And like I said, the sequence today, bringing us into the root, bringing us into the descent, into the root chakra. So focusing at the tailbone, and just start to breathe in and out. And if you are, you know, if visualization works for you, then go ahead and breathe in and out the color red. So a rich red color, breathing it in and out. Rich red from the tailbone down to the toes, or maybe the toes down to the tailbone. And just let yourself feel into that. How do your legs feel? How does your root feel? How does your survival response right now? And just start to breathe into that. Just focus the attention on the Muladhara chakra, which is going to bring the prana, the life force, to accumulate. So just bringing that awareness, slowing down. If you prefer sound over color, the sound for this chakra is Lam, L-A-M. It is connected to Ganesha, the Hindu deity, the elephant deity that removes and places our obstacles. So the color red, the energy of Lam. And again, to deepen the visualization, the yantra has it's like a lotus with 4 red petals. 4 red petals. Four red petals with a yellow square and a red upside down triangle. And so just connecting to this energy. And through this whole practice today, again, just keeping the attention at the tailbone, the color red, the sound of Lam, L-A-M, or again, the lotus with the red petals. And so when the energy descends into the root chakra, the idea is that we're shedding what doesn't serve us. So again, in the root chakra, it's outdated structures, outdated financial processes, outdated family and ancestral belief systems and connections. Again, ways of living that do not support sustainability. Again, any unhealthy relationship to nature, home, family. So what are you willing to dissolve as we descend into the root to reestablish deeper roots, healthier roots, more powerful roots? And take another big, big breath, focusing all your energy at the tailbone. Open mouth, sigh it out, lengthen the tailbone into the earth. And then go ahead and hug your knees into your chest from whatever shape you're in. Just hug the knees into the chest. Give yourself a gentle rock, a gentle massage. So as much as you can today, color red, red petaled lotus, sound of Lam. We're just keeping the prana moving into the tailbone, into the legs. If you're not already on a place on the floor that you can comfortably extend the legs, go ahead and shift your body to being in that position. And then again, just do a little rocking, massaging. Make sure you have your strap or your towel. So we're on the earth, we're on the back, feeling the whole spine. So as we talked about last week in the chakra intro, ideally we're connecting to all the chakras, right? Like we do want to sort of focus on one so we can really tune into that, but it's a system, right? And a lot of times what we're feeling in the root, sometimes the root is the root cause of discomfort somewhere else up in the chakras, because if the container, if the foundation isn't sound, that's going to reverberate. But also sometimes it could be somewhere else. And because you have a strong root, that's where you feel it. So it's important to not diagnose anything from our experience in the chakras and to just sense and feel and breathe. So once you're on the back, you have the strap nearby. Go ahead and just hug the right knee into the chest. Left foot can come to the floor or slide the left heel out. Just gently hug the right knee and rock a little bit side to side. Just massaging the lower organs of elimination. And again, pressing the tailbone down, breathing into the back body. So we want to play with this idea of the adrenals as connected to the root chakra, to that survival response, which, like I said, is something that makes sense to me. And I've heard different things in different lineages. Again, feeling that back body connecting to the earth, letting the adrenals rest into the earth. I kind of see them as like little red party hats on the kidneys. Good. And then go ahead and grab for your strap or your towel or whatever it is you're using. And you're going to loop it or just roll it over so it goes just below the big toe ball mountain on the right foot. And then extend the leg. Flex your foot, but as you inhale, bend the knee towards the chest. Exhale, push the foot to the sky. So holding the strap in a way that feels comfortable. And as you inhale, you bend the knee in. Exhale, kick the leg up. So keep a flex in the foot. Relax the shoulders down. Lengthen the tailbone. Just moving some energy through the roots. You might start to feel some shakiness in the leg. Try to flex the foot as you bend the thigh towards the chest and then kick the foot to the ceiling. So waking up the roots. And again, any metaphors, visuals about gardening or literally working with the foundation of a structure, absolutely apply here, right? How do we reroute the roots, reestablish the roots, pull things up by the roots, examine the roots, a few more like this. And then next time you extend the leg, hold. So hold the strap or towel in a place where you can relax the upper spine. So we want the rest of the spine to feel supported. Push up through your heel, flex the foot. And breathe. So come back to breathing in and out red light or hearing the sound Lam as you breathe. And just notice. So this is a slower moving chakra. This is the element of earth. So this is a heavier, denser chakra. And this time of year, so in winter, right, like in most places, the earth is cold or wet or frozen. So coming into this new moon cycle, which is connected to the cardinal earth element, which is like the mountain, right? Like it's a powerful force of earth. We are dealing with the cold, the moist, the wet, and trying to bring that earth energy up, trying to wake the energy up through the roots. So relax the shoulders, soften the jaw, and you can create any movement that feels good here. We are gonna move the strap here in a moment, but just allowing the energy of the legs. So we're technically in the dark moon right now. We have entered the element of the new moon, but very much about turning into the roots again, that removing of the red cloak and awaiting the gates of the underworld, awaiting the gates of where we just completely surrender to be rebirthed, reborn. So those roots, right? What roots are we offering into that space? And again, fear is the shadow of the root chakra. Some traditions talk about like the demons of the chakra. I don't really, that language doesn't resonate. And as that's a part of the story of Inanna is that the demons, or daemon, which is the original word for that, they're kind of like helpers that bring it, show us things, right? So like the shadow is important. So fear is the shadow of the root, because that is what gets us into action, or that's what freezes us. And so again, right now, there's some legitimate root chakra fear. There's some literal structural, financial, government fear stuff happening. And this new moon is connected to structure and government, the one we're coming into tomorrow. That's like its jam. Take another big breath. Open mouth, exhale. Completely exhale. We're going to find that IT band. So if the left leg is bent, stretch left leg out. Hold the strap in the left hand, and then just start to pull the right toes towards the left shoulder. And the more you draw the leg up towards the left shoulder, the more you're going to feel that big stretch outside the right side of the leg. You can point the toes or flex or floint. Try to roll the shoulders down, but try to find that spot where you're experiencing this sensation and be with that, breathe with that. To relax the shoulders. You might feel some shaking, you might feel some discomfort, there might be some emotion. Breathing into the energy of the IT band, which again just brings us deeper into the muscles of the legs. Feeling the adrenals rest, the tailbone rest into the earth. Soften the jaw, soften the face, just allow the shaking, the shifting. We want to shake up the roots. We want to know what is going to hold us. We want to know what will sustain through this year and beyond. This last year has been a big reset. A lot of planets have started new big cycles. Take another big breath in here. Open mouth, exhale. Draw the leg back up, and then just for a couple breaths, allow it to open up to the right. So roll the shoulders down, hips down, and let the right toes come up and over to the right. Flex the foot, so just feeling a little bit in the hip. We will have plenty of hits next week in the second chakra. It just kind of feels like a good release after the IT stretch. Take another breath. And then slowly bring that right leg up, both hands to the strap. And again, if it's available, pull that leg in a little bit more. Relax the shoulders, soften the jaw. And if that shake is okay, allow that shake to come in. Take a big, big breath. Exhale, release, hug that right knee in. Give it a little rock. And then stretch your right leg out and just notice the difference between the legs. Usually if you look down, the right foot now should be like a tiny bit longer. Right, we're stretching out those roots. So bring the left knee in, hug, rock, give it a nice rock. Roll the shoulders down, massage the tailbone. Take a breath. And then we'll loop the foot and come into side two. So find the loop, find a place where you can hold it, flex the foot, and then again, inhale, pull the knee into the chest. Exhale, kick the foot to the ceiling. Relax the shoulders and feel a little bit of power there, a little bit of power in the root. The legs hold us up. You know, we have that saying like, you know, you don't have a leg to stand on, right? Like things like that. That's a root chakra statement. We need legs to stand on right now. This cycle we're moving out of ruled the legs. This cycle coming in is also the bones. So the bones are connected here. So feel those big bones in the legs. The femur bone is the biggest bone in the body. That's the bone in the thigh bone. Biggest bone in the body here. And then we have our, kind of complex little bones in our ankles and our feet. Tiniest bone in the body is in the ear. Little tiny bones in the ears. But if you do the yoga nidra with me, we'll do a little tour of the bones on Wednesday. Good. And hold that leg up. Relax the shoulders, flex the foot. Big breath, big red breaths, focusing, pooling that red energy at the tailbone, the red petaled lotus, the sound of Lam. You could also work with a mantra in English or whatever language is the language of your heart. Something like, I am supported, I am safe. So the right of this chakra, people talk about the rights of the chakras, is the right to be here. And I think I said that last week, right? The right to be here. We have the right to be here. And it's amazing how many people walk around not feeling like they have the right to be here. So feeling into that right as you ground through the tailbone, as you lengthen through the heel, as you breathe into the big muscles and the big bones. And so what's beautiful about the Venus cycle is that when she goes down the chakras, we have the chance to let go of distortions, debris, what we don't need. And then when she comes back up, we reclaim. So again, this is really a time of letting go of what does not support your roots, what is not the roots you want to bring into this new year, this new era that we are in. Right? Like really examining, I wrote a post yesterday that was like the roots, the stones, and the bones, right? Like going through the roots, upturning the stones, working with the bones. If you've broken a bone and it doesn't heal right, then it continues to be a problem. And in some traditions, they would re-break bones to make sure they healed properly. And we do that in our culture too sometimes. And it's terrible. That sounds horrible, right? To like take a bone, intentionally break it again to heal it, or also just regular wounds. If a wound is not cleaned, right, like just a tiny little cut can turn into something really big if we haven't tended to that. Take another big, big, big breath, lengthen, open mouth, exhale. Coming into that IT awareness. So hold the strap in the right hand, draw the foot up and then cross it towards that right shoulder. The more you pull it into the body, the more intense that will be. So pulling up and over. And again, allowing that sensation, allowing that shake. Relax the shoulders, relax the face, breathe. Let the prana gather at the Muladhara chakra. You don't want that. Whatever is keeping you from feeling your body, whatever's gotten stuck in the mud and the dirt. Good. Take a few more breaths. And really, the strap series is like a great way to just connect to the root chakra. Good. Take another big, big, big inhale. Open mouth, exhale. Pull the leg over a little bit more. Good. And then draw it up and allow it to open out to the side. So just for a few breaths, allow it to open out to the left. So stay rooted through your hips and your shoulders as you bring the leg up and over to the left. And just feeling a little bit into that hip awareness. And again, we really want those roots to be settled before we come into the waters of the hips. Deep breath in and out. And then slowly draw the leg back up to center. Both hands to the strap, drawing the leg towards the body as much as you are able to as you breathe. So feel that heat of the root. Feel that opening through the big muscles. It's fine if the knee is soft. Flex the foot. Take a big, big breath in. Exhale, release. Hug the knee into the chest. Release your strap. Give that leg a rock. And then bring both knees in, give them a nice hug, rock, deep breath. Side out. Good. Now you can either roll to one side or start to rock up and down on your spine. If you're rocking up and down on your spine, just be mindful you don't hit the neck, but just feeling that massage from the tailbone to the shoulders, just stirring things up a little bit, or just roll to one side, and then when you're ready, lift up. If you're rocking, go ahead and slowly rock yourself up to sit. So for a moment, cross the ankles, sitting up nice and tall. Or if it's comfortable for you, we're going to sit on the heels or in Virasana. So Virasana would be my choice for the root chakra, but if your knees are not comfortable, just sit cross-legged, or you can sit on the bed. Also, if you want to get a block or a pillow, you can place that underneath your sit bone. So the knees together or hip width distance, tops of the feet down, sitting back between the thighs or on your heels. So Virasana is it. So in legs up the wall, the blood flows down the legs, right? And then we come up and it rushes the other way. And then in this cuts off the blood flow to the legs. So it feeds the digestion, but then it flushes down the legs. So this is often used for knee issues, also for varicose veins and digestion. But if the knees are already tender, then we don't want to overdo that. So look at your feet, tops of the feet are pressing down, spread your toes, lengthen the legs forward so the knees are not splaying, and your sits bones are rooting into the earth. So feel the sits bones root down, tops of the feet down, knees pointed forward. Press your hands into your thighs or make peace fingers and point your fingers to the earth. That's Bu Mudra, which is one of the mudras for the root. And earth is Prithvi or Bhumavati if we're talking about the earth goddess. So just connecting down to the earth. And we're going to chant that Lam sound 3 times from the root. So nice, deep, low Lam 3 times. Inhale. Deep breath in. Exhale it out. If you are sitting cross-legged, switch the cross of the legs. If you're sitting up on the heels or between the heels, stay there. Reach your arms up. Inhale. Exhale, right hand to the right hip or down to the mat to the right. Reach up and over. Ground that left hip. You can always hold the back of the head too. Just stretch the side body as we root. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, bring it around, left hand to the hip or to the earth, right arm up and over, root that right hip. Relax the shoulders, draw the belly in. Breathing here. Soften the jaw. Press down through the tops of the feet. And inhale, reach it up, big stretch. Exhale, draw down through the heart. All the way down. And then go ahead and shift forward to the knees if that's okay. You can pad the knees with a blanket. And just kick the legs out. So really just kick the feet out. Kick the legs out. And then just take a few cat-cows. Now you can also do that seated if it's not comfortable to be on all fours. Just, you can stretch the legs out from your seat and then find some cat-cow. Press your hands down. And now as you inhale, untuck the toes, roll the chest up if you're on all fours. Exhale, tuck the toes, round the spine. Inhale, tops of the feet down, drop the belly, open the chest. Exhale, tuck the toes, round back. So stay with this, bringing that cat-cow movement all the way into the feet. Soft elbows, palms pressing down. And if you're seated, you can also just play with sort of flexing and pointing the feet as you do your cat-cow. So it's just that awareness comes all the way down to the toes. Few more. And then hold that cat position, toes tucked. And then extend the right leg up behind you, hip height for a moment. So if you are sitting down, just go ahead and extend the legs and you can lift the right leg off the mat for a moment. And then option to lift the left arm up. And so again, if you're sitting, you can reach the left arm straight up as you lift the right leg up. Otherwise, in all fours. Breathe here. Try to steady, feel grounded. Inhale. Exhale, left hand comes down, tuck the right toes. Push back to stretch the calf. So pushing back through that right heel. Soften the jaw. Just again, feel the energy in the leg. If you're seated, you can just be reaching towards the right toes. You'll feel the calf and hamstring there. Big breath. Exhale, release the right knee down. Tuck the toes. Walk back for broken toe pose. If you're sitting, just start wiggling your toes around. You can just wiggle the toes. Otherwise, sitting back on the heels, all 10 toes tucked. You can have your hands on blocks or any support you need. So support, safety, those are all key words of the root chakra. So apply that to your postures. Lengthening through the spine as you feel the energy of the feet. Take a big breath in. Exhale it out. So actually the vowel sound for the root chakra is So there's a vowel sound for each chakra too. The bija is a little bit more aesthetic, right? The lam, but the so when you do those exhales, you can always play with that So take a big breath in. Go ahead and shift forward, hands down, kick out the feet. And then tuck the toes, coming into that balance on the second side. Left leg extends, hip height. Reach back like you're kicking your foot into the wall. Again, if you're sitting down, lift that right heel up off the mat. Maybe reach the right arm forward if you're on all fours, or straight up if you're seated. Belly in, lengthen through the limbs. Again, feel into that root. Hug in, big breath. Exhale, right hand down, left toes tuck. Push back, round back, stretch through the calf. Or again, if you're seated, you're folding towards that left leg, toes flexed. Big breath in. Exhale it out, release, bring the knee down one more time into broken toe. You're welcome, Neil. Tucking the toes here, sitting up nice and tall. Or again, you can just sit with the tops of the feet down again, or if you're seated, just keep wiggling the toes. Roll out the ankles. Just again, keep that energy moving through the feet, through the tailbone, through the legs. Now, if you're sitting on the heels and that's easy for you, try reaching your arms up, or even bringing the hands back behind you a little bit. Feel that through the legs. It's okay if you need to keep your hands grounded. Take one more big breath. Maybe try out that and then hands come down, push back, Uttanasana. But we're gonna grab the blanket. We're gonna do our rolled up Uttanasana. So roll it up, roll it, don't fold it. And then step on it, big toe ball mound to the center, heels down, feet at least hip width distance. You're welcome to grab a block, push down through the heels, pull the toes up, and then bow. And then feel free to wiggle it out here. Shifting the weight side to side. Good, so folding over the legs. Good, nice. Now you can do any movement that feels good here. Good. Relax the jaw, let go of tension. So all these poses are intended to sort of, again, root, right? Like release the energy. So feeling shaking, feeling emotions, feeling slightly off center. That's all very common here. So breathing into these poses. And this is great for the low back. Like I said, this sequence is great for the low back. And just bringing us back into our safety, our security. So if you're feeling anxious, right? Like, and who wouldn't be necessarily feeling anxious right now? There's so much going on. Inhale up halfway. Bring the right foot off the blanket just about 6 inches. Square the hips, stay lifted or fold towards the left leg. So getting a deeper look at the hamstrings. Again, you're more than welcome to do this by the bed or a chair and have your hands up. Push your hips back, hug the legs in. And the more you fold towards that left leg, the deeper you're gonna feel those hamstrings. Soft knees, but legs are extended. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, lengthen up, step the right foot back on the roll. Exhale, bow over both legs, soft knees. And then lengthen up halfway, left foot steps back about 6 inches. You can stay lifted here as you hug in or fold over the right leg. Soften the knees, relax the head, use any support. So support, key word here. In all situations, what is the appropriate support available, especially because this is a descent into the root. So again, our Venus, our Inanna, she's standing at the gateway just naked, you know, in her skin, shivering, waiting. But that's part of the process. Take a big breath. Let it go. Those are the situations where we feel most powerless, where oftentimes we tap into that deep inner support, that inner resource. Lengthen up, step the left foot back up, last breath here. Exhale, fold into the legs. Inhale halfway, step off the blanket, take the feet about shoulder distance apart. Walk your hands back. The hands can come towards the blanket. Now bend your knees, bring your elbows to your thighs and lift your chest. So downhill skier or public restroom pose. Lifting the chest, weight in the heels. So the chest is lifted, your elbows are pressing into your thighs. If you're not shaking, then you got some quads of steel after all these poses. Take a big breath, big exhale, maybe that release, let it go, shake it out. Notice where the heat is building. We're gonna do that again. Bend the knees, forearm to thighs, downhill skier, or again, building the skills for those porta potties. Hugging the legs in, lifting the chest, maybe lifting the toes. Breathe into the tailbone. And again, maybe seeing red is very easy right now. Take another breath, big exhale. And let it go. Shake it out. Slow roll up to stand. Give yourself a shake. Shake out the legs. That's an important release for the nervous system, for the adrenals. Shake it out. And then if you have a block, grab it. If not, you could always use a pillow. Bring it between your thighs. Feet hip width distance apart, toes forward. Soft knees. We're just gonna do some half sun salutes with this extra support. So squeezing the block, not so much you're super tense, but enough that it doesn't fall. Inhale, reach for the sky. Exhale, bow to the earth. The hands can always go onto the blanket or the bed. Squeeze the block, lengthen up halfway. Soft knees, but keep squeezing the block as you fold. Inhale, reach it up. Exhale, hands to heart. Follow the breath. Inhale, reach up, press through your feet, squeeze the block. Exhale, bow. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, release. Inhale, squeeze the block, lift up. Hands to heart. 3 more, follow your breath. Tending to the roots. All those poses intended to kind of build heat, start to clear things out, break up any stagnancy, any debris, any excess heaviness. And hopefully feeling a little more space there, a little more surrendering into the root support. Whatever is holding us here and now is pretty important. When you finish your last one, just pause in mountain pose. Pose of the mountain that is connected to this new moon specifically. Press through the feet, lift the toes, soften the jaw. Inhale, lift up onto your tippy toes, squeeze the block. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift up on the tippy toes, squeeze the block. Exhale, lower. Option to inhale, reach the arms up as you lift and lower. Just I'm gonna say a few times, just several times, but not too long. I was in a Kundalini yoga class once where they made us do this for like 11 minutes. I think I was like crying by that point because the calves and the root, but again, just connecting. And it's okay if you feel like you're gonna fall, right? That's how we figure out our foundation. Lifting just up as high as you can, squeezing the block. So if squeezing the block makes this harder, that lets us know that we're not using the best muscle support to lift to the tippy toes. See if you can hold, squeeze the block, squeeze the calves, inhale, exhale, heels down. I know you want to take that block out, but not yet. Just give yourself a little wiggle. Inhale, arms up. Right hand to left wrist, pull up and over. Squeeze the block. Squeeze the block. The more you reach up and over, squeeze the block. Press through your heels. Belly in. Inhale up. Switch the clasp up and over. Squeeze the block. Squeeze the block. Press through the feet, even slightly lift the toes. Inhale up. Exhale, release. Grab your block. Place the block on the floor, so long way. And again, you may or may not want a wall or chair. So we've done this. We're going to bring one foot up on the block. The other foot's going to find its balance. So this is how we check foundation, right? So you can use a wall or support. And you can just keep the opposite leg dangling, or you can play here. Sometimes I like to offer tree, but again, you're standing on a block. And you don't have to stand on a block. If you don't have a block and you don't have something that feels safe to stand on, then just come into tree pose. You can play though, those of you who have other balance poses in your toolkit. It's more about that standing leg. And notice what happens. For some people, the balance pose is easier here. It's more accessible because the muscles are being forced to fire in that standing leg. But if just for a few breaths, can you settle somewhere? Can you breathe in? Maybe not. So again, if you're falling around, then just that's fine. We're learning our roots. We're finding our roots. We're reestablishing. We're creating new neural pathways for our stability. Take another breath. That sound is kind of fun to make. If you haven't tried it, then go ahead and try it. And then very gently, we'll release, give it a little shake, and come into the second side. So testing those roots, examining those roots, right? And again, totally fine to just play with that. Make sure you feel safe, right? Make sure you feel supported. If you want to bring the other leg into tree pose or any other balance pose that feels good. And again, the arms, just have them comfortable. The higher the arms come, the more that challenges our balance. So if you need more support, keep them lower or kind of mid. But can you settle somewhere for just about 3 breaths? Soft jaw, soft face. Long spine. And again, it's okay if the roots won't be quiet. They're still shifting and moving. Take one more breath. And release. Give yourself a shake. Come off the block. Oof. Feet hip width distance apart. Mountain pose, Padasan. Shrug the shoulders down the back. Chin parallel. And gathering the energy in the root. That red root, that four-petaled lotus. We're going to tone that lam sound one time here. Lam. Inhale, reach for the sky. Exhale, bow to earth. Take a few breaths here, just wiggle, shift in any way. If it's available, you can always either take peace fingers to the big toes, bend the knees and draw yourself in. But if that's a lot on the shoulders, the hamstrings, don't worry about it. You could also take your hands behind the calves and draw in. Just feeling a little bit more deeply into Uttanasana. Feeling into your feet. Deep breath. Sigh it out. Transition down to your bottom. If you want to come through down dog, you're welcome to do that. You're also welcome to sit up on support, blanket or pillow or whatever. Extend your legs out in front of you. Give them a nice little shake. Make little fists with your hands and go ahead and pound the legs. So we don't ever want to pound. When we're doing self-massage, whether it's with the hands or with the balls, you don't ever want to hit the bone. So in and outside, in our Chinese medicine, the meridians run up and down the legs. You can also bring the feet in. This is one of my favorite things to do for the feet. So you can stay with pounding the legs. You can also start to move into using your thumbs to massage along the calves. The foot, especially along the big toe ball mound and the arch into the thighs. Also into the glutes. Sometimes, again, the bigger muscles, they rub in circles. If you happen to have a tennis ball or a yoga ball handy, I don't use them much. They make me mad because they get into all my spots. You could always put one though underneath your hamstrings and roll it out, or the outside of the glute. Again, we don't go into the bone, but I'm not going to go into that because I'm not really qualified to teach too much into the balls. There are lots of wonderful teachers that do though, but if you have that practice and they're nearby, that's great for the legs. Otherwise, just using your fist. And just keep breathing. So also if you are comfortable massaging your feet, you can take your hand and hold your foot. So dig your fingers in between your toes and then do some circling. And then you can use the thumb to massage the arch there. Just take a few breaths, few moments to massage the legs. Bringing that prana into the legs, into the root. And just being mindful with both sides. So just, like 2 or 3 breaths, 3 to 5 breaths with each thing you're doing. Oh, my feet are tight right now. Oh. I actually have been doing a little bit of the yoga ball thing for my feet because I really want a foot massage, and it is the closest I can get right now. Take a big breath. Let it go. Give it a little shake. Hug your right knee in. Draw the heel in towards the hip. Make sure you're up on your sits bones. Pull the thigh towards the belly. Inhale. Exhale, right hand behind you, left arm wraps. And just gently twist. So feel that twist from the tailbone all the way up. And breathe. in the Kundalini tradition and some of the tantric tradition. The root chakra is the home of the Kundalini, of the serpent, where it sleeps until you awaken it, and the Shakti moves up towards the Shiva, the crown. But, you know, regardless of different belief systems, there's a great deal of power in this part of the body. Inhale. Exhale. Slowly unwind. Extend the leg. Shake. Do a little fist on the sides. And then other side, pull the left heel in. So heel comes in towards the hip. We're up on the sits bones. Pull the thigh towards the belly. Inhale. Exhale, left hand behind. Right arm wraps. Shake out the head. Soften the jaw. So from the tailbone, we establish the twist. Reaching up. What are you clearing from your roots? And again, our ancestral and planetary connections. So again, there are things in our DNA, in our system that, you know, go back hundreds, thousands, millions of years. And that's all the root chakra. So the root chakra is that connection to family, ancestry, planet. It's big. This is a big connection. Inhale. Let it go. Shake it out. Shake it out. Shake it out. Up nice and tall in the sits bones. Flex the feet. Bend the knees. Inhale. Reach for the sky. Exhale. Reach for the toes. Belly in. Inhale. Reach up. Flex the feet. Lift the spine. Exhale. Reach out. Again. Inhale. Lift. Exhale out. So the hands can settle outside the calves or thighs. You could grab for your strap again here, or the big toes. The knees can stay bent, lifting up, or you can start to extend the legs. But again, sit bones stay rooted, the feet stay active. You're lifting up and over. So the strap can go around both feet now. If you want to grab for your strap, no requirement. Bowing up and over into Muladhara, into the root. Take a few really good, slow breaths here. Let go, let go. Virasana at the threshold of the root chakra, stripping off the red cloak and standing just in her body and her flesh and her bones, the only thing holding her. Take another breath. Let it go. Slowly come up. Shake it out. And then find your way into relaxation. So Shavasana, corpse pose, can be quite fitting if something else resonates. But let yourself feel close to the earth. You could do a child's pose. You could stay in a fetal pose. Anything that feels really safe, supported, and secure. Settling your spine, your tailbone into the earth. Soften the jaw. Let go, let go, let go. Let go, let go, let go. Feeling into the root, the tailbone. Maybe imagining from your tailbone that there is a root that drops down to the mat, the floor, the foundation, the glass, the dirt, all the way down to the red core of the earth. And as you inhale, you draw in the nourishment, the safety, the security that you need. And as you exhale, you can let go of anything that is not yours, that no longer serves and is no longer supportive. to your body, to your life, to your livelihood, to your family, to our planet. There's big earth energy this week. Again, very much that idea of descent into the earth, letting go, breaking down, restructuring. So the more we can dig down into the earth, red, rich earth holding us, supporting us, and just letting go, letting go, letting go. Feeling into the bones, hold your body in place that allow your movement. Resting into the bones, resting into the root, resting into the earth. Letting go, letting go, letting go. Psychological surgery. The world around you is on shaky ground. Do whatever it takes to steady yourself with roots so deep in the earth that you can withstand any upheaval. In an ideal world, you have been working towards such a profound quality of presence and deep inner trust, knowing and capacity that no matter what the world throws at you, you're going to come out on top. Persevere. Purpose continues to manifest as mastery. Unless misaligned, then it's just messy. Your spiritual depth will carry you out of the chaos. Feel the bones in the body, the roots connecting you to the earth, to your life, your home, your health, your body. And as we move through these next few weeks in particular, you get to decide what continues to contain you, what continues to support and sustain you. And that shaking is part of it, part of clearing out the debris and the stagnancy and awakening the deep strength. Feel into the roots that need nourishing and allow yourself to let go as much as you need to right now. Take a big breath into the tailbone. An open mouth, let it go. You can bend the knees and roll to fetal pose. Our first yoga pose, again, the root chakra established in the womb. And yet we are able to consciously reconnect and recreate this container as needed. When you're ready, make your way up to sit. Sit bones in the earth, spine long, hands on the thighs, or again, making the little peace fingers and pointing them down. You can keep that idea of a grounding cord this week. So that idea of having a root from your tailbone into the earth. It's often a nice visualization technique to feel grounded and supported in a way to release. You can also just stay with working with red, the element of earth, getting your feet out on nature, being mindful of the food you eat, and again, the foundations of your life. And I honor you for being here. Thank you so much for practicing with me today on this really powerful Earth Chakra week. We will close our practice by offering out that sound of Lam one more time. Take a deep breath in. You can place your hands at your heart or on your body in any way that feels good. Thank you for being here. I bow to you. Om Muladhara Namaha. Namaste.